Right, well, good morning everyone. It's 9:30, the clock has ticked over. As you probably know, I'm Justin Milne, the Chairman of NetComm Wireless, and I'd like to welcome you all this morning, shareholders and guests. First of all, let me introduce some of my fellow directors, Mr David Spence, Mr Ken Boundy, Mr Stuart Black, and Ken Sheridan, our CEO, and our CFO, Chris Last, is here as well. And we've also got the auditors. Thank you, Connor, for coming. And also let me just quickly thank Andy McNee and Maddox for allowing us to use your facilities. That's great. I think we've got a quorum, and therefore I declare this annual general meeting of NetComm Wireless officially open. The business for the meeting is outlined in the notice of the annual general meeting, which many of you would have received, and it's been online. Prior to moving the procedural part of our meeting, I'd just like to provide you with my hopefully brief overview of the company's performance in 2017, and then I'll ask our CEO and Managing Director Ken Sheridan to update you on NetComm's business activities. And to break up proceedings a bit, we've got a few videos to show you on the way through, so you don't have to put up with my droning voice. 2017 was a very busy and a very exciting year for our company. I think a huge amount was achieved, both operationally and financially, and management's efforts have put the business in a very strong place to deliver on strong revenue and EBITDA growth for FY18 and beyond. Some of the key achievements for FY17 that I'll touch on include we've made a substantial investment in infrastructure and people to underpin the company's growth and to deliver on the international opportunities that we very importantly see. Pleasingly, and a testament to the management, the investment that we undertook was both on budget and was exactly what we had indicated to the market. We had very strong growth in group revenue, driven by even stronger growth in fixed wireless and in our world leading fibre to the curb technology, which I'll talk about later on. And we had very strong growth in operating cash flows. We also built NetComm Wireless's reputation and capabilities in some new overseas markets, including showcasing our fibre to the curb solution with BT Openreach and others. FY17 will go down in our history as a significant year of investment. The NetComm team have done a really good job putting in place all of the building blocks required to deliver what we think is going to be a step change in earnings, and we're already starting to see that for FY18. And at the same time, we want to cement our company's position as a small but beautiful global telecommunications technology company, which actually does lead the world in some very important areas of technology. To bring to life some of these investments we've made in infrastructure in particular, I'd like to share the following short video with you.
Big advantage of having all the gear here is kind of twofold. On the one hand, we don't have to send stuff out to be tested, and so that can save weeks at a time. So once you've done some development, by the time you've arranged for a test, packed the thing up, sent it out, had it tested and had it come back, that can easily be 2 weeks. Here what we can do is we can do some development and test it all within an hour. So that's pretty handy. In addition, because we're working on a lot of cutting edge type things, we find that the labs aren't necessarily ready to test the things that we want to test. The standards are still evolving, they may not have been finalised, they may require specialised equipment to do the testing. So by bringing that in-house, we can actually save months at a time
During the process of developing the NBN device, we had to be able to model the device of it being in a 70-degree pit or in a very cold house with a reverse power feeder and vice versa, so testing both of the devices in the system at their most extreme points. By having the chambers available on hand and being able to automate all of that testing and controlling the chambers remotely, it meant that we could set up long process tests of thermal cycling, which allowed us to really validate that the design that we had was correct and worked over the full range of what the product was required to do.
Here in Sunrise, we engineer network-grade fixed wireless solutions for customers like AT&T in the United States. And our in-house capabilities have given us a huge advantage over our competitors.
The biggest benefit of having this test equipment is it allows us to be very efficient and do parallel work on our designs, as well as we're capable of setting things up remotely so that we can test essentially 24 hours a day.
There you go. Now what you see on that video, as well as a number of other investments that we've made, were really must-have investments to allow us to leverage the strong market position that we've been growing in the global telecommunications technology space. The company invested $23 million last year in FY17 on planned initiatives, and they were all on time and on budget. The global market for broadband technology has of course continued to grow over the past few years, and frankly it doesn't show any sign of slowing anytime soon. Connectivity is now absolutely fundamental to every business and to most of the humans on the planet. Wireless technologies are becoming more and more important, and NetComm Wireless is extremely well placed in both wireless and fixed line technologies. Our wireless products are being deployed in Australia and the US, and discussions are underway with a number of different Tier 1 telcos in other parts of North America, Europe and the UK. Similarly, our world-leading fixed line technology for delivering fibre to the curb is being deployed already in Australia by NBN, and a number of very promising discussions are underway overseas. Today, NetComm Wireless has market leadership globally in some of these areas, and we're ensuring that we take advantage of this leadership to drive long-term growth. The innovative telecommunications solutions that we developed for both NBN and AT&T are a clear proof of our global market position. We now need to maintain that position, and our investments in FY17 I think are very important to help us do this. Now, equipment's good, but people make it great, and so in addition to the infrastructure that we've invested in the business, we've also put a lot of money into people. We've recruited highly experienced specialist engineers, both here and in the US, to help us develop bespoke, personally designed solutions for our customers, while also developing a high-performance culture. Ken Sheridan and his senior team have, in my opinion, done a brilliant job over the last 12 months of transforming the company's culture and helping the company to reach the next stage of growth. I'd like to try to bring this point to life with just one more short video.
So we try and have lots of fun at work. We have lots of social events, we have cake day, pizza day, and you want drinks.
I believe courage is a skill. It's a skill that nobody is perfect at, but we can all work to get better at. It's about putting fear aside. It's about taking the difficult path and confronting things that are unfamiliar to us.
Innovation is a challenge, and it's a challenge the whole company can take up. It's saying no when somebody says, but that's the way we've always done it.
Perseverance is a quality that everyone needs. Whether you're running a marathon or trying to solve a problem at work, you need to push through and do your best. And when you do, you should reward yourself.
Teamwork to me, it's about growing together. It makes all those big tasks look much smaller and much more achievable. Teamwork makes the dream works.
Being the best, you have to be committed to a goal. You've got to have dedication and a no excuses kind of attitude.
Passion. You know what passion is? Passion is working for NetComm, no matter what time it is. Not because you have to, just because you want to.
The financial results of NetComm Wireless over FY17 need to be considered in the context of the substantial investment for growth that we've made. The heavy lifting of the business investment phase was undertaken in FY17, and we now are in the best position that we've ever been in to capitalise on the opportunities that we see across the planet and that are starting to come to us. At a high level in FY17, we achieved EBITDA of $3.6 million, in line with our expectations, on the back of very strong revenue growth of 26.3% to $107.6 million. Our fixed wireless solutions and fibre to the distribution point units grew even more strongly, with revenue from these devices up 47% to represent $86.3 million, with NBN and AT&T contracts really starting to scale up. Our growth businesses, fixed wireless and fibre to the curb and M2M, now represent together approximately 80% of group revenue, up from 69% in financial year 16. As these projects will continue to increase in scale, that's a trend that we confidently expect will continue. Our revenue streams continue to diversify, and during FY17 we received the first orders from NBN for our fibre to the curb drop point unit. I can give you as many acronyms if you like here, but I'm trying to spit them all out for you. That we delivered those DPUs in June and August this year, and we've received additional orders from NBN in September, and we're pretty optimistic about our ability to continue to provide NBN with even more of these devices over time. Our AT&T fixed wireless project kicked into gear this year, with the first units delivered in the last month of FY17 as AT&T rolls out the fixed wireless service to an initial 18 states in the US and targets around 400,000 homes. Penetration of our devices right now is currently just slightly behind forecast, but we do expect that to pick up in the next year. And meanwhile, a number of additional very interesting opportunities have been presented to us by AT&T, with whom the lads have developed a very good relationship. Our cash flow profile was a highlight in FY17. We saw strong operating cash flows of $8.2 million during the year, and that compared to a $2 million outflow in the previous year. And while we've continued to invest in growth, we've maintained a disciplined focus on capital management to ensure that the balance sheet remains strong. With no debt and cash in the bank, we're well placed to pursue our growth strategy and deliver on the pipeline of attractive global opportunities that we see. In addition to the cash on our balance sheet, we've got bank debt facilities in place for $20 million, all undrawn. So that provides us with the ability to respond dynamically and execute on growth opportunities as they emerge, as we expect. As I've just outlined, your company delivered on multiple fronts in terms of operational achievements and financial results. We did what we said we'd do. However, our share price has underperformed over the last 12 months, and as a board and management team, our focus is on growing the business for the long term and exploiting the unique advantages that we have. It's up to the market ultimately to value the business, but like all of you, Ken, our CEO, the executive team, the board and myself are all shareholders in NetComm Wireless with shares that we paid for, just like you. And we don't like to see a dip in the share price, but we do remain very confident of the outlook. We've got exciting growth prospects ahead of us, and in line with those prospects, we're expecting a step change in the company's results for next year and beyond. Our board welcomed the appointment of 2 new non-executive directors in financial year 17. David Spence joined on the 22nd of May, and David's got extensive experience in the broadband, wireless and fibre networking businesses, and we'll probably hear from him a little bit later on. And he's already making a great contribution. Very pleased to say that David Stewart will rejoin the board on the 23rd of December this year, following his retirement last year from the role of CEO, and after nearly 3 decades in the role. And we're very much looking forward to having him back so that we can have the benefit of his experience again as part of the mix. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank and acknowledge the work of Ken Sheridan, our CEO, and the highly talented staff right across our business in different continents over the last 12 months. I'd also like to thank my fellow directors for their input, their careful thought, their collegiate approach, and their strategic guidance throughout the year. And finally, I'd like to thank you, our shareholders, for your ongoing support of the company as we continue to execute on our strategic global priorities, which will see us create, I really do believe, long-term value for you, our shareholders. So now let me welcome Ken Sheridan, our CEO, to the podium, and he can present his update on the company's operational progress. Thank you.